Welcome to TriTech University. My name is Bill Steppen, and today we're going to take a look at the word template functions in AIM. We have done this broadcast before, but I'm just kind of cleaning it up and going back and making sure that things make sense in this more crisp format, as well, I guess you could say. Brief summary, word templates are a function that allow you to expand on certain functions in AIM point of sale and beyond. So what do I mean by that? You have your basic receipts when you do transactions, but for those things where you would like to elaborate on that activity, such as, let's say, a rental contract or a layaway or a service agreement or things like that, you can set up a Word document to lay out all of your terms and conditions. If you want to have special fonts or graphics or anything like that, you can plug all of that into the Word template, and then you can have that template be filled with information from AIM in the form of what's known as a mail merge. So before we get into the details, as always, just a few housekeeping rules. Over to the right is the chat function. So click on that chat tab, and then down at the bottom, you're going to see a nickname button. Feel free to click that button, put in your name, say hi, and then ask any questions that you have today. I am monitoring the chat window over here to my right. So if I see a question come in, I will do my best to answer that as soon as I see it. As always then, let's go ahead and switch over to my screen, my playground here. Okay, so as I was saying, word templates, these are a function of AIM combined with a word processor. In the past, it's always been limited to Microsoft Word. Now in version 12 and beyond, you can use just about any Word document or word processor that you so desire. It can be OpenOffice. It can be, basically, it just has to be able to generate the .doc extension, if you're familiar with that terminology. You access the setup for it by going into Maintenance and General Maintenance and Maintain Word Templates. And when you come into this program here, there are already a handful of Word templates that are kind of set up here from scratch or by default to kind of help you get started. I'm going to talk you through what we're seeing here. These are the main points behind a Word template. And let's just go ahead and take a look at this first one here. So a template description. This is basically the name of the template. This is how you're going to recognize one template from another. You can give it a subject, and in the event that you email this document out to a customer or basically external of the program, this would be what shows up in the subject line of the email. The template file name is the file name pointing, basically the file that you are using to generate the Word document, the Word template, the letter, and then the auto-generated code. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. In this case, in the form of when we're talking about delinquency notices for rental contracts, customers are past due, they're not making their payments. AIM can send out automatically, when you trigger it to do so, one of potentially 4 different notices. So we've got notice 1, notice 2, notice 3, and notice 4. And you might notice that as I click through those, it goes down from 1st through 4th delinquency notice. So let's take a closer look at what this auto-generated code means. I'm going to just click into this and then press the F6 key so that I can bring up a nice easy list here using the nice F6 functions here in point of sale. I'm going to apologize if this is a little small, but feel free to check this out on your own system at your leisure. So in essence, everything that you see here on this list is a document that can be automated. So when a certain function happens in AIM, it will check to see if a template, a Word template, coincides with that type of activity. And if it does see one or more, it will then ask you if you would like to print that. And you can either print it, you can save it as a file like a PDF or a generated Word document. You can email it out. You can do all of the above. So some of the more common ones, apart from the 4 delinquency notices are things like extra terms and conditions when it comes to long-term contracts. You can have a generic long-term contract document. You can have documents that are specific to certain types of contracts, such as rent-to-owns or sales contracts or rent-to-rents. You can have a document that generates when a contract is returned or paid off or the inventory on it is exchanged. So lots of different functions here. When you sell a membership, a customer membership, you can have a new membership form that automatically gets printed. When you do a new service ticket, you can have a new service document. When you do things like special types of transactions, such as approvals or layaways or short-term rentals, you can have those print as well. So when we are setting these documents up themselves, you can use what is known as a tag index to fill in what you want to have pulled in from AIM and put into the document. So what do I mean by that? Well, typically when we talk about these files, these documents, you're going to want to store those in what's known as the templates subfolder of the AIM folder on your server. By putting it in this templates folder, you'll be able to then find it at your leisure. Plus, you'll know that it is available to be used from any device, any computer on your network, whether they're all in the same network or if they're remoting in from another location or whatever it may be. We recommend that you save the template in this templates folder. Now, in that templates folder, if we go ahead and actually right-click in here, and I just want to open this this folder here. I'll see if I can't get to the open path here. I know there's an option for it. Well, anyway, actually it doesn't matter because I have it open over here on my other computer screen. So in this folder, tucked away, pretty much going to be down at the bottom, is this file called tag index. Now this tag index, when we open that, and I have that open over here as well, is going to be basically a listing of all of the things which we call tags that you can put into, and if I can double click on this to make it nice and big here, that you can put into your Word template, into your Word document. Basically the whole idea here is whatever the tag is, this is going to be the thing that is in this left-hand column, and then the right-hand side is what that tag coincides with. So if you were to put this into your document, it would get replaced with today's date when you actually generate the document. We have some general tags. These general tags can be used on just about every document that AIM can generate for you. There's also a bunch of customer tags. Again, these are universal. You can use them on just about any document that you so choose. There are customer dependent tags. So in the case of a dependent tag, we're talking about those customer details in the dependent section of a customer account. So if we go and take a look at add or change customers, and let's just pull up my good old guinea pig Mike Anderson here. When we talk about customer dependence, we're talking about this tag over here, or this tab. So in this case, Judy is a dependent of Mike Anderson, and then by extension, if we go back and take a look at that, the name can be pulled in, the school that they're associated with, or the district, and then any applicable attributes. And then we'll talk about attributes later on if we've got the time. Rental tags. Now, this is where we start to get into the specific tags for specific types of templates. These will only be utilized if we're talking about a template that is used in conjunction with a generated code that is specific to a rental contract. So it could be these delinquency notices, it could be any of these long-term contract templates, but just keep that in mind that some types of documents are going to, or some types of tags are going to be limited to the relevant documents that they are affiliated with, transactions that they're affiliated with. There are a plethora of rental tags, and these can be very, very specific. So for example, this one, this RNT down pay plus deposit, will pull in the down pay plus any rental deposit that is on the contract. Next pay amount payoff, accumulated credit less accumulated tax. So there are all kinds of tags here, and for what it's worth, if you are trying to put together a document and you do not see a tag, honestly, let us know in support. It's quite possible that the tag doesn't exist, but we can make it exist for you. So it just all depends on whether or not the data is there for the system to be able to look at, and in these cases do things like basic math and stuff like that. So just to kind of flesh out the remaining of the tag types, when we get past the rental ones, we can get into things like short-term rental tags. So obviously these are going to be specific to short-term rentals and short-term rental activity. Reservation tags are specific to short-term rental reservations, things that customers are reserving for a future rental. Proposal tags, so these are your sales quotes for future possible sales. Layaway tags for layaways, layaway payoff tags, delayed delivery tags, approval tags, student lesson and scheduling tags, repair service tags, repair tags. Now notice the service tag is specific to things like the serial number, the model, description. So what is it that you are wanting to print as far as like a service tag for, like a little tag that can be printed on a printout, versus a repair tag. So this would actually be things like the ticket, more things aligned with the ticket. So just kind of keep that in mind. Order tags for special orders, e-card tags for gift card sales, credit check adverse action letter tags. This is a special function that is kind of tied intrinsically with our connectivity to do customer credit checks, and if they fall short of a window where they are able to rent from you, for example, because their credit score is too low, AIM can generate an adverse action letter, and it can have one of these denials of credit reasons and the credit score and all of that. Inventory hang tags, these are special tags that go hand in hand with the ability to print hang tags. These are basically larger documents, or maybe they're going to be full-fledged letter marketing things, but basically they'll be printed through the hang tag function of AIM, and then all the details that you see here can be put onto a hang tag. This can be things like descriptions and serial numbers and price points and barcodes and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Consignment tags for when you are doing consignments with your customers. Consignment sales tags for when you are doing sales on consignments. And then online payment tags for when a customer makes a payment online. Appraisal tags for when an appraisal letter needs to be printed. Receive purchase tags, membership tags, scheduling tags. So these are technically the new tags for AIM version 12. These ones that you see back up here are more for the version 11 original lesson billing and scheduling module. And then kind of wrapping up the list here, that is actually it. So what can you do with these tags? Well, I am going to, actually I have taken the liberty of setting up a sample document here for the purposes of a layaway. So let me pull this over and just kind of show you what this is looking like. This is going to pull in the workstation name and address details of my store information, the date of this notice, the workstation telephone information, customer information, and then it's going to pull in very simply a reference number, the inventory table of whatever was on that layaway, and then the amount received. And I just wanted to point out that the template that is printed will honor the font information that you use to put in the tag. So in this case, when we actually do a layaway here and see this full circle, we're going to see the reference number is in bold and in italics. The inventory table is just the basic Times New Roman. And then this layaway amount received, we'll use this more bold-faced, what's the word I'm looking for? Font. In fact, since that's so hard to kind of differentiate between this and the layaway reference that is just in bold, let's actually go and make this be something even more obvious, maybe like a script font. So let's find a script font, maybe this one here, this Blackadder script. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and save that. This is saved as layaway test in my templates folder, layawaystest.doc. So back in here, we're going to go ahead and click the Add button, and we're going to call this layaway test. We're going to call this your layaway for the purposes of an email subject. For the template file name, we're going to go ahead and point this to the document that we just saved as of this minute. Notice how that is a .docx. It doesn't have to be a .dot for a document template. It can be a straight up document. And the most important thing here is we're going to go ahead and make this be a layaway doc for the purposes of our auto-generated code. If you are setting this up as a hang tag, just bear in mind that you can tell the system how many tags are on a given sheet of paper. So in the case of our inventory hang tag here, there might be 1 tag, there might be 4 tags, there might be 8 tags. Just kind of keep that in mind, that you can specify how many tags the page itself is kind of divided into. Okay. Well, we've done all of our setup. Let's go ahead and do a new layaway. So let's go ahead and pull up, again, my good old guinea pig, Mr. Mike Anderson here. And we're just going to do a very simple layaway. So we'll go into layaway mode, and we will do, let's just stick with our good old RT14 valve oil. We see we've got 85 cents due for a minimum down payment. So let's just take $1. And then we're going to go ahead and tender that and take a cash payment. Just going to say it was all paid by cash. We're going to finalize that. Now, this first thing that is going to be generated here is the regular layaway receipt. I can kind of see that up here where it says select output destination for the layaway. Let's just go ahead and print this to the screen. And of course it shows up on my other monitor. So this is probably something that everyone is familiar with, a basic layaway receipt here. So it's got the workstation information, the layaway information, what is on the layaway, the amount received, the balance due, and so forth. And then it's going to print your layaway. So you might recognize that as the subject of the Word document that we had just recently set up. If there were more than one document sharing that auto-generated code, it would actually come up with a list of which one would you like to use. So just kind of keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and show this one to the screen as well. And there we go. So we can see it pulled in Professor Tritech's Emporium, the name of my workstation, the date of this notice, the telephone information, the customer information, and there we go. We can see it's got the reference number, the 1248, in bold italics. There's the layaway inventory table, so it's showing me the serial SKU, in this case RT14, the description, the selling price, and how many were put on the layaway. And there, in ever so small text, is the Blackadder font of the dollar down payment received. So that's the basic gist of a Word template. And like I was saying, Word templates are really, really powerful in the event of, let's go back to a more basic function such as rental contracts. You could technically set up your entire contract in the form of a template with all the terms and conditions, put in in AIM or in the template the details that you would like it to pull from AIM into the printout: customer information, contract information, what's on the contract, what are the terms, what's the payment amount, what's the amount due, when is it due, all of that. So you can basically have it print out the contract for you without you having to go and get an old school, carbon copy contract that they have to then fill out after you've already done all of that in AIM, or even vice versa. If you had them fill out the contract and then plugged it into AIM, now you just do the work once, plug it into AIM, and it generates the contract for you. Technically, there is the ability to pull in an electronic signature in those cases where you want to pull in that signature, so it's basically electronically signed. We sell a device called a Topaz signature pad. You can find that available for sale on our website. I did do an older webinar on the function of e-signatures and the Topaz capture device. If you are going to set that up, and I think I covered this in that document or in that transaction, that webinar, just bear in mind that the signature itself is something that gets captured in the form of an image that can then be pulled into AIM. And I'm trying to remember where in the tag index it kind of defines that. Let's just do a word search for signature. There we go. So online signature, that is actually the online signature field from an online contract. Is there another one here? So let's go backwards. There we go, all signature. So if a transaction has a captured signature associated with it, that might be a layaway, it might be a contract, it might be an approval, it might be a consignment, or anything that you can actually set up an electronic signature capture for. Just plug this into the template where you would like that to be pulled in. It'll also let you know that you need to insert a temporary image onto your Word document. So that's basically, in essence, instead of just typing this in, you'll want to insert an image placeholder into the document, and then you're going to right-click on that image, select the option to format the picture, and then add all signature in the alt text tab. So just as an example, if I were doing this for the layaway document, let's go ahead and pull that back up here. Let's say we wanted the signature, and I don't have a signature device that I can use to demonstrate this all the way, but we can put in a placeholder image. So we can just basically select a picture here, and let's see if I've got a picture. Let's go to the AIM folder here. So C, AIM, let's just use this one. And then the most important thing here is we're going to right click, we're going to do that function where, what did it say exactly again? So we're going to right click, select the format picture, and add all signature in the alt text. So if we go into the option for the picture information here in this alt text, this is where you would put in the what is that terminology again? Come on, back up. I guess I can't pull it up, so I need to do that here. So it's just, it was all underscore signature, like that. So basically, that would be how you could pull in a signature in the event that you needed to pull that in, if you are using the device for that. And again, it's all laid out here in the tag index. If you have any questions on how any of this works, of course, you can always give our support team a call. So that is the basic gist of Word templates. I hope this has been helpful. And again, we did a lot of this in a previous Word template webinar, but I tried to condense this into our new half-hour or shorter format. So now this information will hopefully be easier to digest and more straightforward to the point. So Hopefully this has been helpful when it comes to the upcoming live stream broadcast. If you click back over here and switch from the chat tab to the playlist tab, I do have the dates reserved for the October and November and beyond live stream sessions for the rest of the year. I do not yet have the subject matter finalized for those, but I have a feeling that I'll be doing a SHPO live stream topic here in the coming month. That's basically how AIM can tie into your SHPO service, which can in turn tie into the likes of UPS, FedEx, USPS, and so forth for the purposes of generating shipping labels and things like that. But that being said, if there are specific topics that you would like to see covered in these TriTech University sessions, up at the top is the poll tab. Go ahead and click on that, and there will be a section there where you can enter in the topics that you would like to see me cover. You can also just email those to training@tritechretail.com, or give us a call and say, hey, I want Professor TriTech to do a talk on this or a talk on that. We take all of those considerations into heavy priority because they're what you would like to see happen. So that's enough of me rambling. Let's go ahead and sign off for this session. Again, hopefully this has been helpful, and we will see you next month. Take care.